Alright, I know y'all been waiting for this one. I give my official review of this movie. It was released a little over a year ago, and I'm still amazed at how great this movie is. This is my review of The Batman. Much like Batman 89, it starts out with Batman already fighting crime. And it's been 2 years since he became Batman. Every step he takes, it's building suspense. Like, sure, people argue like, oh, Batman's all about stealth. He wouldn't let his enemies know he's coming. He wouldn't do this, he wouldn't do this. Honestly, with this version, he wants his enemies to know that he's coming. Because it's part of his stealth. Whenever there's shadows, you never know if he's there or not. Because he is the shadows. And it's legit terrifying. And I just had a nerdgasm. His enemy is the Riddler. And he starts targeting politicians. I love this exchange he has with the first politician's son. Right before he leaves, he turns, looks at the sun, and the sun looks at him, and they exchange this glare like, you know what he's thinking. Because Batman lost his parents. How could he not sympathize with his kid? And as time goes on, the Riddler leaves Batman clues, not only leading to the reveal of his identity, but his next target. And with this version of Batman, he has this one gadget I really love. It's sort of a contact lens, and with it, he puts it in his eye, and then when he gets back to the Batcave, he puts it in this thing. That's freaking amazing! Batman meets Selina Kyle, Catwoman. And they work together not only to investigate the Riddler, but also to help find Selina's missing roommate. That was connected to the politician in the beginning that Riddler kills. And as time goes on, the circumstances of the death of Bruce's parents are revealed. So, while Batman doesn't really focus on his parents' death that much in this movie, he does acknowledge that, yeah, it really left mental scars. And so Batman takes the Riddler down, he saves the city, and I love how, at the end, when they're all flooded into this one arena, the first person he reaches out to is the kid from the beginning. I love touches like that, because you see that, yeah, he might be an introvert as Bruce Wayne, and he might be a shut-in at the heart of it. He has compassion for people. The story has a whole bunch of stuff going on, but the pacing is so great that you don't mind how much plot is in this movie. Alright, so this version of Batman, as I said, is sort of a shut-in. You hardly ever see him in public. And it sort of helps Christian Bale. He has to act like he's heartless to cover up the fact that he's Batman. In this movie, it especially works for this version of Bruce Wayne. Because, obviously, you don't really see him. You don't really see him out in public, so you don't really know much about him. It's clouded in mystery. You never know what he's gonna do. He especially shows compassion for people. And yes, yeah, he's played by Robert Pattinson. I find it odd that Christian Bale went over the top with his Batman voice, but even actors like Edward Cullen could get the Batman voice right. I was blown away by his performance as Batman. Although this, just knowing that it is the same actor as Edward Cullen. Well, thank God he's a detective. Otherwise, as long as you're not watching her sleep, I'll let that pass. Now with Catwoman, she's also sort of reserved. And yes, she does live with another girl, and once that girl goes missing, obviously, she goes pretty much to hell and back to find out. Even going against Batman, of all people. Against Batman, of all people. To try to find her roommate. Honestly, I think the main reason Batman doesn't want problems with Catwoman, because in real life, this is her stepdad. Do you see the problem? She leaves Gotham at the end of the movie, which I guess it makes sense because in the comics, Batman and Catwoman, while they do love each other, at the same time, they walk two different paths, so it makes sense. If you were to tell me that Lenny Kravitz's daughter is the best Catwoman since Michelle Pfeiffer, I would have told you to go screw yourself. It's like, holy shit, she was born to play Catwoman. And let's talk about the Riddler. No, not that one. Yeah, in this movie, this is our Riddler. Going back to what I said about Batman Forever, Jim Carrey was so goofy, you would easily believe that he's a comic book character. But with this version, holy shit, I get more Joker vibes from this guy. But at the same time, like, he's relatable once you find out his backstory. He was an orphan, and sort of like with Batman Returns, Tim Burton had this idea that was scrapped, where obviously the Penguin was an orphan because his parents abandoned him, and this guy played by Christopher Walken was supposed to be his brother. It was supposed to show parallels between, like, what would happen to this sibling versus what happened to this sibling. But in this movie, it sort of like focuses on like what happened to Bruce because he's an orphan, and the Riddler is also an orphan. But like because Bruce grew up with money, he had an easier life. But whereas the Riddler was discarded like yesterday's trash. And the reveal of his face, holy shit, that's creepy. No disrespect to Paul Dano, because he's awesome. Because he gave it his all in this movie, and he definitely earned the praise. But holy shit, that's scary. What I didn't like about the movie is the hate that it got. People were hating on it because of Robert Pattinson. And I'll be honest, I was skeptical about it when I first heard about it. But I gave him a chance. Because go back and watch movies like The Lighthouse. Go back and watch movies like Remember Me. Go back and watch the fourth Harry Potter movie. He gives it his all. And yes, the fact that he is from Twilight, it doesn't help. But, at the same time, that's mostly the director's problem. That's the director's fault for all that shit, for all that shitty acting, all the shitty dialogue, all that. It's the director's fault. But no, in this movie, he's perfectly cast. My final thoughts of this movie is, it's awesome. People say it doesn't have very much humor, but next time on Rocky and Batman. It does take itself a little too seriously, but it's a film noir. What do you expect? Let me tell you. Around this time last year, my Defending Cinema video was on Robert Pattinson. And I uploaded it literally 3 hours before I saw this movie in theaters for the first time. And when I walked in, literally, the entire theater was full. There was only one seat left, and I took it. It was in the very front row. And at the end of the movie, everyone was clapping like, "Bravo! Bravo! Bravo!" Like, they were loving it. And I was one of the people clapping. And, believe it or not, there were girls in Team Jacob shirts in the audience. and even they were clapping. And I'm Team Jacob too, but I would not wear a shirt that says Team Jacob, because it's like going to a Steve Perry concert wearing a Journey shirt. It's a slap in the face. Just... But yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. Just forget you know who Robert Pattinson is, and you will have a great time watching this movie. And yes, it is an almost 3-hour movie, but you do not feel the length until about the climax. I gotta get out of here because I got somewhere to be. So, hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, stay positive, stay awesome everyone. See ya.